on. We got an answer in here somewhere. Somebody's got it. So, we're literally looking for cold spots. You guys should be able to see me in that camera, orange, red, and yellow guy. When I have bridal parties, I'm the hottest guy in the photo. So, but obviously yeah, ladies, you're outnumbered tonight. Sorry. Normally it's the other way around. I actually just did a head count. I'm like, wow, hang on a minute. This is weird. So we're literally looking for cold spots. That's the blue and black spots inside the screen. We're going to try to keep somebody's temperature in view at all times. The reason why is we're going to be the warmest thing out here, which, by the way, thank you for picking a cool night. I won't be sweating by the time we're done here. Not to mention you're going to empty half my bag. So when you pull somebody out of this camera, that orange, red, and yellow is going to go somewhere else. So I just want to kind of take a step back so you guys can kind of see how that building's going to fluctuate. So again, we want to try to keep that fluctuation of color in there. There's also a blue dot that will randomly move around the screen to the coldest spot in the screen at that particular time. That will help you guys, all of you, because you're going to get the video back from this. It also has a center crosshairs in the event we actually have to measure something directly. That way we could just move the camera, put the crosshairs on it, and we'll be good to go. So there is so Alex, this one's going to go to you, buddy, since you were like spot on with what's going to happen here. There's going to be a bar on his screen that's going to help him figure out the highest and the coldest spots in the screen at that particular time. That will not be on the recording, just so you know. The orange square means that it's recording. So we're going to do a couple of start and stops. As wonderful as the hardware is, the software sucks. So we want to make sure we don't lose any of our footage. So I'll give you the cues. So no need to worry about it. You'll just hit that red square. It'll turn to a circle. And I'll say, okay, let's get it started back up again at this point. All right, everybody, let's go. No, I'm kidding. So make sure you all are paying attention. You almost left.
No, I didn't. I'm like, let's go.
Spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different types tonight. Who here is not familiar with what a spirit box is? It's okay if you're not. All right, everybody here's, wow, pretty hip stuff. Cool. So, white noise on your TV shows, yes, and Zach Bagans tells you the BS he thinks he wants you to hear. So we're going to be doing this in real time, and you guys aren't trained to be listening to this all the time. So I have this guy slowed down on purpose. So the radio DJs, the song lyrics, and the commercials will come through. In the event you hear something out of this, I want you to tell me what it is. So again, it could be a song lyric, a DJ, or a commercial. It's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about in history, or even something going on with one of us. So the cool thing about this one is that it will record the entire session for us without any background noise. It will know anything that we're saying. Also, when it's on mute. So you guys get a nice even level recording tomorrow morning. This is my favorite one because if I go into a museum or whatever, I just turn it on, set it up to record, throw it in my pocket, listen to it later. See what pops up out of it. Love this stuff. So you have one button to worry about, Miss Lisa. It's a volume button. So you're going to control the volume. It's a wheel right here where my index finger is. So you're going to control the volume. At times, there might be certain areas where I'll say, let's keep it audible to you and one other person only, just because of horses or neighborhoods or so forth and so on. Let's see. I'm trying to focus on the devices that record first. Alright, so the next spirit box we're going to be using is going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen. As you guys can see right now, it says, see a manager. It must be Karen on the other end. So, nobody here named Karen. Good. So it's going to give us a word from time to time. Wow, it's giving us a lot, but we're going to clear out the list. It's going to save all those words to a list. So last tour I did had 84 terms. I'm going to clear them out so we can start ours off fresh. You will get the entire list back. However, 80% of what comes out of this thing is absolute BS. This is a phone app. So at any given point, it's going to spit out a random word, right? The game we're playing with this is it coming from a ghost or is it coming from the app? So the other 5 to 15%, 5 to 20% rather, I will always tell you exactly why it was relevant to that location, and I'll give you the backlink to verify it. So again, I'm not here to make things up for you guys. In the event I say, Stacy, where are we at with the list? You're going to hit the little white button next to the word, and it'll bring up the entire list. And then there's a little top right. Once you go ahead and hit the white button, there's a top right circle back. That's the only two buttons you ever need to know. You don't need to show me every word.
Wonderful.
All right, millimeters. So this one is multifunctional. Ben, this one's all you, buddy. In the event, Alex finds something on his camera. The bottom number is ambient temperature being measured by this yellow probe. So that'll tell us what's going on in that specific cold spot in the event we actually find something. This is also an EMF detector. So electromagnetic fields. Anything above 2.5, we're going to get excited about, try to debunk it. If not, we're going to be super excited that it's skyrocketed. The last thing that it has is it has a REM pod built into it. So any event something gets close to that antenna, it will go off. The closer something gets, the higher it's going to go. We don't always use that. I'm going to show you more at the first location. So for now, just focus on the numbers on your red screen.
Ready? Let me see.
Trying to feel like how I want to go about this next. Alright. Should have a spirit box among your group, so Tyler, this one's going to go to you.
Alright.
This one does the exact same thing that Lisa's does, only it does not record. So you're probably going to need somebody to help listen in with you. So with that said, you also have one button. You should probably stay close to Alex if you can, just because he's recording audio as well. So if you hear something, it could come up there as well, so we can all hear it. So one button on the side of the ball speaker. If you hold it up gently, you'll get some noise out of it. You turn it down, obviously, and I'm talking to the whole group. So that one there goes to you.
Thank you.
Rick, you get to carry the bag.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm a great bag carrier.
You get the brand new device. So, quick demo with this craziness. To get it started. Perfect. So you guys should not be able to see me in that camera. I know it's a small, tiny screen.
Yep.
We're going to turn on some lights. We're working with full spectrum lighting on this guy. So again, we're going to do start and stops with this because there's only 90 minutes worth of video on here. Not to mention the files on this guy are ridiculously large. So we're going to kind of savor the video for actual spots. So I'll kind of give you your start and stop cues as well.
Okay.
So go ahead and take that guy. There's a long range light that's on there that's at the very top, and then this guy down here is your short range. So you don't need to worry about anything. We're going to keep this guy the way it's set all night. This one, however, there's a red button right there. Do you see it?
Yep.
So in the event you're working with a group of people, look at your screen. You want me to move the camera? Are you right-handed?
Yeah, I'm right-handed.
Okay.
Just turn it.
Yep. Okay, turn it this way so you
Okay.
can actually see it. So
Alright.
see how my hand's going to bleach it out?
Yep.
You can shut it off.
Okay.
And the long range will still be on. So it's going to be up to you to kind of gauge where we're at with things. I am literally looking for things in the darkness with that. I'm not always going to be looking in the pinkish purplish hue because it's going to give us kind of two spotlights, right? So I'm looking for the things in the darkness because if something is not supposed to reflect light, it will show up in this light.
Looking for like orbs and stuff.
You'll get orbs. I've seen things that look like little lightning cracks that shouldn't have been there. Bugs you'll be able to see very clearly because they're going to zip right by them.
Right.
But again, anything that's in the darkness. Now this thing is brand new. I've only had it for maybe 2.5 months now. I've only had 2 pieces that have been somewhat questionable. So again, you're still the guinea pig. We're still playing with this thing, so we'll kind of see how the night goes. All right, now that everybody has devices, go have a good time. No, I'm kidding. She's like, are you seriously sending us around town?
I just keep following
I
you.
have a sense of humor. Ghost hunting can be fun, guys, I promise.
Hey, if we guys get ate up by bugs, we got wipes.
Awesome. I think we have spray in the car too, just in case.
It's not
They're
gonna
all
work.
wearing
car's a
pants.
little bit
I think
far.
it'll be fine.
Hey, the mosquitoes tearing me up, my arms, back.
My ankles usually get bit up pretty bad,
Right, yeah.
and I normally would wear an anklet, but we're past that season where mosquitoes for me are, like, for some odd reason, if fall hits, and they're like, oh, we're done with Nick.
Yeah,
Alright, cool.
that's him.
So,
They hit me.
let's talk about why we started here. I told you guys to meet me next to Big John's. So this place actually just reopened a couple of weeks back, and it used to be called Big John's, and it was named after a football player, 1947 New York Giants. Now, I'm not a sports guy, so I had to memorize this crap for y'all, so appreciate what it is. So Big John, this was his bar. He used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the cadets he used to tell the bartender if the cadets that coming over were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. So Big John has the bartender throw them out. They leave, pretty pissed off. They come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, gets away from the bar, starts beating the hell out of these guys, just pounding them into the floor. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. So John gets up after being shot, goes back to the bartender and tells him, get me another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in an ambulance. First off, nobody died in that story. Right? And John's the only one that got shot. He's also the only one that got up. So just a little bit of irony there. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still there. I'll have to check after the renovations they just did. I just haven't had a chance to get in there. So, people that sit in the front of the bar, queasy, nauseous, headache. I bring this story up on purpose. We're dealing with paranormal activity, and I don't know how it's going to be affecting any of you. So, anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. This actually just happened the other night, first time in about a year. Somebody about passed out at a very haunted location. So, not to scare anybody, but it is literally the scariest thing that's going to be told tonight on this tour, just so you know. Let's get your minds off your own health, because now Stacy's like, what the hell are we got?
I was just thinking,
You be sure about that?
it'll be Stacy. I brought my heels.
We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that, have you guys taken any kind of Charleston
Yes,
tours?
yes.
All right, did you? So every tour talks about the big earthquake because this is the East Coast. We're not supposed to have earthquakes. So this is allegedly where the first event occurred. The mantle you guys see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front of the building. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, killed him. They say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue, so Ben over here is not thinking about getting sick on the tour. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go this way. Car's coming. Sorry, I forgot to put my little notebook and pen in my side pocket. So some of your devices, Ben's, yours does not record anything. Tyler, yours doesn't record anything. So I do take notes throughout, so that way I'm not missing anything when I'm putting all of your data together for you. So again, you'll see me writing stuff down like a nerdy little scientist writer guy. So, welcome to the Big Red Barn. Your entire time with me, guys, should be thinking of as like a ghost hunting 101. This is a level 1, very easy spot. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. It's just a great spot so I can show you more things about your devices and we'll move on. The Big Red Barn lot, this is where we keep your horses for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell the horses, right? I can't. I'm out here 6 nights a week. Sorry, can't smell them. It's not because I have COVID, I promise. So, the only history here is really simple. This is the same red barn where we kept horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's it. 1860s and 1920s. We're going to talk about spirit boxes because we're using all 3 of my spirit boxes tonight. This is not TV, first off. This is not, is somebody here? Like all the cheesy guys ask on TV. Because if somebody says no, that means somebody's here, right? So we're going to stay away from yes and no questions all night long. My daughter and I constantly make fun of the TV shows because they're always yes and no questions. She's like, Dad, they did it again. Yes, I know. But anyway, so we're going to ask simple things that you already know the answers to in this particular spot. The next spot, we're not going to go so easy. If somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is, right? Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red. But 2 of the spirit boxes tonight are using noises, like to convey messages, song lyrics, and DJs. Let's say the word red's not going to be in that vocabulary, then fire truck, blood, heart. Those are just 3 examples of things that are specifically red. What color is the Big Red Barn? Heart. Makes sense to me. However, most times I will ask for a secondary clue. You hear the number 40, you get the word art on your word list, right? So, Big John had a teammate, Art Faircloth. He was number 40. That was his jersey number. I always demand 2 clues unless it's a direct answer. That way we can verify what's actually happening out here. So, a lot of the stories I tell throughout the night, guys, have multiple people with the same names. We need to know who the hell we're talking to. Lots of Charleses, Elizas, and Georges, and you can get the gist of this, right? So, again, as the night goes on, we'll see how things go. In the event you don't get an answer from what color is the Big Red Barn, open it up. What's inside the barn? Horses, animals, draft horses, that's their breed, right? So they were delivery horses for milk and eggs. Milk and eggs could also be portrayed as milk or protein and calcium. So again, what's inside the Big Red Barn? Protein. They carried milk. Makes sense. Or carried eggs. So that would make sense. So again, this is going to be about putting all these clues together and getting the messages right. So again, it's not, I'll always say if it's a stretch or vagueness, like, well, they lived in Virginia and then they came down here and like, no, that's not, like that's kind of how that's going to roll. So I will always help debunk things, especially if you're reaching and stretching, I'll pull you back in, don't worry. You guys want specific answers and so do I. That's why I'm out here. So, cameras I usually leave with me first. As far as the spirit boxes go, and your particular, have you gotten any movement out of those big numbers yet?
No.
Nothing at all.
Nope, 0, 0.
Okay. So, again, try to find a few hot spots around in here. Definitely get your spirit box turned up. Keep in mind the horses do not like loud white noise, so you're going to keep it audible to 1 to 2 people only. So this is the only area where the horses are. Back here, they can't hear you. So again, we are going to stay within the confines of this lot. We're only going to be in here for like 5 minutes. That's literally about it. I just want to give you guys more tactics with your devices. Cameramen, stay with me. Everybody else can spread out. Then I'm going to come to you next to show you more about your REM pod.
How does this thing turn on?
So it's not recording now. I was kind of saving that for the next stop. So after the next story, I'll say, let's go ahead and get your thing recorded. That's this button right here.
Okay.
It'll start flashing. So I'm always constantly checking to see if you're recording now.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure.
Did you get the gist of the bleach out
Yes,
thing?
I did. I hit it earlier just to check it out,
Yeah.
see what's going on,
Cool.
you know, to make sure I was hitting the right button. Because like right now you're whited out, now it went down low, you know what I mean?
Yep, you got it. So again, it's your discretion. If you have a lot of light, it's pretty much irrelevant to actually have, that, direct, close contact going on. Turn it off, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Again, whatever's going to give you the better picture. Again, I upload both your videos to YouTube and then send them over to my website so you guys can watch them however you want. You want to watch them on a big screen so you can see a little bit more detail. You want to watch them on your computer or your phone, whatever you want to do with them. Your camera. Do you have the gist of why I want to try to keep the skin tone in there? Does it make sense now? Have you been watching that blue dot?
Yeah.
I will tell you that the blue dot, if you have sky in your screen, will automatically go to the sky because it doesn't know what to measure. So your camera does not see in 3D. That's why there's little white outlines around things that should be actually objects. But point your camera at the barn for just a second. It should bleed out to a red-orange color.
Yeah.
So we're going to put my hand into view, and the wall should turn blue. So again, you want that variation of color. It's much easier to see things moving around that aren't supposed to be there when you have a variation. At the next stop, I will show you evidence that I've caught with that camera, just so you have a better gist of what you're looking for. But in here, you have all different types of material. You have obviously metal, asphalt, brick, wood, vehicles. Cameras, keep in mind as well, we're going to be in some areas where there might be vehicles. People do not like their cars being filmed. So I'll just kind of, remind you every time we hit one of those spots, like, hey, just if you're going to see somebody going to their car, just go the opposite way. So I don't like to run with 6 people. I'm the guy being left behind. I got the backpack.
Yeah, well, my wife just had a hip replacement, so back in June.
Yeah.
So she'll be the victim. You know what I mean?
Let me show you more about this guy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off the temperature. The reason we're going to do that is the battery juice is now going to go straight into EMF only. So now it's going to move around a lot quicker. Just making sure I can pull the 4 buttons on there. Good. So let's talk about your REM pod. Pull up that antenna. Yep. And the back was flat. You should have left it looking for it. So there you go. There's 2 little white buttons underneath that flat. The one closer to the edge turns on the antenna. So go ahead and put that into place. Push it in. There you go. Perfect. It's going to be super bright. Now, I'll be honest, normally I give this thing to females. They walk a little bit more gracefully than us because that thing's going to jostle with every one of your movements. There's a button on the right-hand side where your thumb is. There's 4 buttons. The very bottom one will actually reset it. So in the event something gets in the way of this and it's from your movements, you constantly want to be checking that reset button to make sure it's not coming from your movements. Now you're pretty still right now, so if it were to go off right now, it's definitely not from you. It's a matter of what just passed through it, and we can also use this thing as kind of a call and answer to this. So you have different colors here in the center. Watch your eyes and like get close to it. See where they're all blue and purple and all that. I'll use that like, hey, if somebody's here, maybe go to blue, maybe go to purple, and try to get a definitive answer out of it. I try to play with the middle colors. It's a lot harder for them to hover X amount of, instead of touching it or staying all the way away from it. But again, this device is always telling us what the possibilities are of something actually happening.
Yeah, we kind of just
This particular
picked the
spot
random location
on
and
map
decided to drive down here.
But at the same time, this lot is different.
Got a
every
drone
single
over
time I
there?
come in here. Sometimes it starts over there, sometimes it waits
Got a
there.
red
I do use it on the K2 meter. It sounds like you guys are all pretty good to the shows, right?
We play a lot of fun.
Fair enough. So the same EMF meter that they have on there, the one with the blinking lights, I use that as well. But again, way too sensitive. This is way more accurate. That's why I stick with this guy. So how is that game that everybody keeps telling me I have to play?
We all went to college
Played it
together.
when it first came out.
We all actually
Not,
worked at FedEx.
You can
I
chase by
happened to
ghosts that are physical entities, so I mean,
I just quit FedEx because I have
yeah,
another job
realistic
coming
there,
up in
but
IT.
Okay.
They're still at
Gotcha.
FedEx right now.
I mean, one of these days I have to check it out.
Tyler
I'm,
over
I'm a
there
history guy.
also
Obviously,
is
you're
like
gonna
going to
find
be
that
working
out.
for
Yeah, I'm still
ABC6
playing
like
Assassin's Creed Black
American.
Sails or Black Flag. So that's, I mean, we're going to talk about pirates later. You're going to see why I'm playing that game because that part of the story is actually in the game. So it's kind of like, all right, just got the latest Luigi's Mansion on the Switch. Now what's next? So of course, Luigi's Mansion is all those all the time. All right, let me catch up with these ladies, and then
Yeah.
we're going to move on. How are we doing with your work list?
What color's the barn? What?
You just got wide-eyed.
Yeah, I didn't hear what it said.
It answered you.
Just heard you in this.
Hello and what?
Where you at?
Not really. I mean, it just said hello. Both male voices.
So when you're dealing with DJs and song lyrics, it doesn't matter the gender. It's just all the disembodied voices that they play for you on TV. That's where the gender matters. So it doesn't matter if it's a male or female coming through on DJs and song lyrics. It's just the message. So hello and Tyler, did you hear anything on yours yet?
Nothing relevant.
Okay. That you know of.
Yep.
All right. I say we go look deep dive into some deeper history than football players and ponies. What do you guys think?
Okay.
All right. Let's go this way.
See the drone up there?
I do. Could have been you, Alex. Could have been you. I had a drone following us.
I should have.
Did you bring it or not?
It's in the hotel.
Oh, okay. Take a picture of that.
Definitely tell it's a weekday. There's only 2 cars in here. All right, come on around, guys. So, welcome to another beautiful site of Charleston. Another parking lot. So, of course, this is one of those locations I told you about that actually used to be something. So, this is the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. So, it's a parking lot now, obviously. But again, just like I said over there, we're not going to be giving you easy questions for your spirit boxes, like what color is George Washington's white horse. We're not going to be doing that kind of thing here. We're going to be getting the answers from your spirit boxes. Charles and Eliza, they had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses, again, with the multiple names, right? The son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. However, you all are on vacation, and nobody wants to talk about politics, including me. So, just have to point that out, because if I don't, I should actually leave it out, because usually one of the Charleses will give us something related to signing the Constitution on a spirit box somewhere. And I should leave it out on purpose, right? So that way they have to keep reminding me, but I'm a jerk like that. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you how old she was when she got married. I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So if that kind of gives you a gist of what kind of numbers you're listening for. So she married Charles because her father over in England thought he was dying. He wanted to see all of his kids one last time, and she didn't want to go. So she put her foot down and she got married. This is the 1740s. She didn't marry this guy for a green card or citizenship because there was no such thing yet, right? She married this guy out of love, had a guy over double her own age. So she was right. Dad didn't die right away. He starts sending over gifts from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes blue jeans blue. Many of us are wearing it tonight. That's how we still use it. The layout of this land was the mansion was in the front. Eliza's garden was over there with that tree and came all the way across, and the slave and servant quarters were in the back. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep this plant cultivated in our weird temperature. It doesn't stay hot down here, guys. Like, this is nice and cool right now, but it does get cold here in January, February. Once she experimented with the plant here, she moves it to another plantation owned by the same family, and she calls her dad up, not literally because it's the 1750s, and says, I need somewhere to sell this because rice plantations are going downhill. It's a pretty big deal. She starts selling her indigo seeds and indigo crops overseas internationally. We have an international businesswoman in colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. Other tourists don't come here because there's obviously nothing to see. I'm going to give you guys some odd facts about Eliza that you can ask about without giving you the answers. I will give you the answers of the things we're missing, and maybe some other of the family members will come through. So we just never know what we're actually going to capture here. This is a huge hot spot for me. So again, we do get very good activity in here, so we're going to find out what happens tonight. Out of the 2 years I've been coming here, only 4 nights did I not get one single thing that was relevant to the Pinckney family. So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So now we're dealing with 3 Charleses and 2 Elizas. And what a jerk move on Chuck's part, right? He married 2 women back to back with the same name. So the first Eliza, they both have their maiden name that starts with the letter L. So again, we want to know who we're talking to. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. Then you can ask when that tragedy happened. I'm going to give you the clue that yes, it was a tragedy. So you can try to come up with it, but let's get something definitive out of your spirit boxes. Ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. Hey Eliza, how old were you when you died? What did you die from? Where are you buried? What U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? That's a pretty big one. If that doesn't tell you how important she was, I don't know what's going to. As far as the kids, tread lightly. So let's not poke the bear. There was a tragedy among one of those kids. All activity will stop in the event we have anything. Speaking of, do you have any readings yet on your end? Nothing. That is blowing my mind tonight. You broke it. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry.
So,
I have a curse tattooed on my wrist. Maybe that's.
yeah, you did. We should. Hopefully, you're going to come up with some good spikes for us. But anyway, as far as the kids go, maybe ask what the names are. How many kids did she have? Kind of leave it alone. Let's just get some clues around it. Let's not poke the bear with that tragedy of the kid, because again, all activity will not stop just here, but I've seen it throughout the rest of the night where it gets very weak. So we'll kind of see what happens. But I think I've given you enough just to kind of get your, get everything started. I am going to check you guys in on my phone as you guys get going, so that way you guys bought your tickets in different ways. So I'll check you guys in, give you all a head start. Nobody likes the teacher hanging around anyway. Do we have anything going on your word list over the
I
past
want to know why this turns red.
That's just part of the app. Like,
Okay.
that's just meant for aesthetics.
Yeah, I've had words.
Yeah.
Lay, feeling, program.
Yeah.
Feelings, lay, program.
Okay. Yeah, all pretty vague stuff, right? So we're not going to go with any of that for sure. Yeah, give me 5 minutes, get started on the spirit boxes, get your video recording, and let's see what we can dig up out of here. Literally. It's like, we don't have shovels to dig anything up.
Said to hit record?
Yours should already be recording. Is it the
This-
square?
Yeah, square.
Yeah, just the white.
Oh, okay.
I always start yours off, so that way you have the instructions.
Six. So you got 6. 6 what? What? You heard the picture already? Yeah.
No, he got,
Oh, yeah, I got
his
6
reading.
All right, see there?
Got crushed.
Crushed by what?
Stay close so we can maybe pick up the audio on here.
Crushed by what? What U.S. president was at your funeral, huh? Which U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? Was it Johnson? Joey Johnson? No? Abraham Lincoln. How many kids you got? 1-0.
What?
10 kids?
1-0.
Where are you buried?
Ask who you're talking to.
Who am I talking to? Where are you buried?
Can you look at this real quick?
Yeah.
Looks like Ben's being followed.
You think Ben's being followed?
And I think it's just like a
Little cold spot?
like you see like it's like the same outline as him. Just something wonky.
I want to show you some evidence from that camera. So this actually occurred up in that corner. It's one of the reasons why I wait till we're here. So the orange is the wall.
Yeah.
You're going to see 2 living people going past the wall. See their heads?
Yeah.
So we're going to fast forward. You're going to see 2 dead people going the opposite way.
Those spots right there.
Yep, right there and there. And then this guy here was always in view. So again, they're black. He's obviously orange and yellow. So they should have been the same color. So that's kind of the gist of when I say things are moving around on your screen. Like that's what I'm looking for when I'm watching the video.
Something weird I just noticed.
Yeah.
I was watching Ben, had Tyler over to the left, and it looked like a silhouette of Ben right behind him. I don't know if that was just like...
So a lot of times when the video needs the calibrator, you move too quickly, it's going to be like the white lines was behind him.
Yeah.
Is that what you saw, the silhouette? Yeah, so that'll happen because it didn't catch up to where the temperature was going.
Okay.
So, but yeah, good catch. That's
Alright.
exactly the kind of stuff we're listening for. Anything else higher than 6? No. Okay. Keep going. I've seen that thing, the one you, like the TV one you normally see, that thing goes up to 25. Yeah. I've seen this thing spike out at 198. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. In here, I've seen it spike up to 149. So, again, it just depends on how the night's going to go. And it's kind of weird that I can't remember what phase we're on. I don't think we're on a new moon yet. I think we have one more night before a new moon. New moon actually gives me more activity.
You got what? 22? What's the temperature there?
My temperature is off.
It's what?
My temperature is off. I'm getting lots of readings right there. It's gone.
What just happened?
I'm not moving, so it's not me.
Which Elias am I speaking with? Can you give us a sign?
Can you do that again? 19.
Yeah, that's the puddle I'm seeing over there.
Who got crushed?
I heard 22 came out of your device.
I got 22, and then it started blinking, and it went all the way to yellow.
Oh.
Whoa.
Where?
I was right.
Just remember, this is ghost hunting. They're not going to stay in one spot.
Is it higher? Excuse me?
I'm getting 7.
National businesswoman at whatever age you were. How old were you? Any type of credit. They didn't have credit in this, whatever, hundreds. How old were you?
I like
Charles, we got
way. He's getting all kinds of readings. I want to follow up with
25.
30?
36.
That's crazy. You think that's related to the tragedy?
Are you guys related to the tragedy?
No, the crushing part. Did someone get
That's all I
crushed?
got. I heard crush.
Tyler, you hearing anything on there?
All I heard the word crush so far.
It's down to 0.
Down to 0. Nothing.
So is the temperature working on it anymore?
He told me to turn the temperature off because it can inhibit the.
Okay.
For the most part, yeah. Yeah, because of phobia, yeah. It's like, same concept.
I'm gonna go to that same spot I was in.
Yep.
I don't know how it compares to like the actual thing. It's just more so like a showing us how it goes. So it's on Zero. And, yeah, I think it's in tomatoes. It's in its early stages. It was that first one that was making that's a so. And mostly about just like try and figure out what something is doing.
It's a dead 0.
In a particular setting. So you have to your box.
I'd say walk back over there.
They're not really cultured,
How old was your husband when he died?
Getting anything?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yes. I got Bill when I asked the name of a slave that worked here.
Bill?
Bill. But I don't know if that would have been a popular name then or not. And then it said Weeks.
Weeks?
How old was your husband? Were you held?
Against your will. How were you held against your will? I got Bill. Alright. I got Ella. I got Frank. Weeks.
I'm just going to listen in on this computer a minute, and I'll just start off right there. But even if they were,
Oh.
there's no record.
Okay.
How old were you, Eliza, when you died? How old was your husband when
I got bread.
he died?
I asked it a question and said, bread.
I got a 27 over by the fence.
27 by the fence.
Now he does.
What part?
By that sign over there.
It's not always going to be a
About 5
direct
feet
answer. If you grab something that's a direct clue to her life or something
You're gonna
that's
say 10, 11.
she's going to use that.
Does it matter how far these little things go up? No.
Again, it's meant to try to scare you. I have it turned down. It makes me growl.
Oh, okay.
It's a Zach Bagans.
Mom.
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 about Dick? Liza year round? Can I what? His head, what about his Drew's head? Someone there? What happened? Okay.
Red pointed at me. Am I purple?
Yep.
Tell me when I'm not purple.
You're black.
So, what we got here? Probably good 25 feet.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever tried that measurement before. We're gonna give it another minute and we're gonna wrap this one up. There's not much coming through. Now, is there anything else coming out of yours?
I think the cold spot keeps jumping to your hand.
I heard you say something about the color red.
Yeah, when it was like
I got that
popping up.
but,
They're not getting much on there. The only person really getting anything is Ben. He's all over the place.
yeah.
Brains all over. So we're gonna give you
just
another
went
minute.
over the red.
If something wants to sneak through, and normally when I start announcing this, it's usually when somebody.
And I even reset and went back to it.
I'll pull the call up to that corner.
Okay.
That way I think you guys can answer.
Alright, cool.
You just never know. Anything crazy coming out of yours? You haven't screamed or thrown your camera either, so
No.
okay. But nice slow movements. You're on top of it. You guys got it's like you guys do this professionally. He's got the gist of that one down, nice and slow. Tyler ain't getting squat. You guys can give him a hard time about it later.
Will do.
I jumped all the way up to red and set it and jumped right back down.
So we definitely have a red rating of something. Where was that? Is that a curiosity? Alright guys, let's slowly make our way up to this corner up here. Come on over, Tyler.
Where am I? Where was your success at in this alcohol?
Seeing a little bit of green. Did you get a spike with that too? On your end?
Oh, it went yellow, but I think it was my hand.
Okay.
I reset it.
Alright, so let's turn those spirit boxes down. I'll be honest, the spirit boxes, they just didn't feel like they were giving us anything in real time. There's nothing that I can tie together for you guys. However, Ben's device, I mean, we have at least, what, 6 or 7 spiked readings, at least 20. So, we definitely have something going on. We did get a couple of readings on the REM pod for motion, both in the yellow and then all the way out to red. And we did do a reset to verify it wasn't his motion. So again, it's really the only piece of the pot here. Alex, you can stop your video too and give We're going to stay here for special effect of the pinging noise on the metal tin pan. Alright, so let me give you guys the gist of where we are and what's going on here. So this is, when we crossed that last crosswalk coming over, we crossed into the original Charlestown walls. Charleston used to be Charlestown, the walled city. The wall went up Cumberland, that crosswalk. And we're going to go closer to that again. This is one of the first streets we ever had. So that's the reason why I like to come down here. Any names that we heard along the way? Nothing? Ladies?
I got home and track.
Yeah, nothing. The reason I ask for names is because I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here before. So the names I commonly get are Benjamin and John. So they both lived here in 1801. I don't find it coincidence that I hear their names together the same night every 5 to 6 minutes. Every once in a while I'll get a third name. The name is Jane. That's 3 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. Again, I don't find this coincidence at all. The reason this is called Lodge Alley is because this is where the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge. So that's why it's called Lodge Alley. Lodge Alley Inn is right behind you. We get words obviously wrapped around the Freemasons, including the word Illuminati has shown up here twice for me now. So again, I can't make this stuff up. When it happens, it happens. They did do an archaeological dig under here and found out about the people that used to live here. Found some of their tools and silverware. Sometimes those specific tools and silverware will pop up on spirit boxes as well. Again, this is a little bit more illuminated than what I'm used to over the past few weeks. So I know I told you it's going to be dark. Of course, the one night I warned people, it's perfectly lit. So what's going to happen from here is we're going to actually go up, cut through this neighborhood. We're literally on the cusp of where I'm allowed to meet you. So we're going to go up and cut through the neighborhood. As far as I still have to follow the tourism laws, even though technically isn't a tour guide takes tourist trap. But we're going to go up to St. Philip Cemetery and Church. I'll kind of give you the gist of what's going on up there. Readings can get odd in here. It's always hard to read because of the buildings, just so you know. The St. Philip Cemetery, that whole corner is where we're going to start running into other tours, if we're going to have any other tours out tonight. But I'll use Stacy's list to try to tell us which stories I need to tell. There's like 15 stories on that corner. Most of them are true. I know which ones are false. I don't even store them anymore. I just go straight for the true ones. But again, once we exit the alley, again, cameraman, if you guys want to give your hands a break until we get up to the cemetery, completely up to you, your story. You record with whatever you want to from here going forward. We are going to have to change your battery at the last stop, just so you know. It's almost the exact moment of when we have to change out your battery. Alright, let's take a walk through the rest of this so you guys can get the gist of a very, very old street. I constantly ask like every party. I'm like, yeah, what? Can I play the light night? I'll be honest.
Where do you get your equipment from? Any like specific vendors?
Most of it I do get from Ghost Stuff, or I'll go straight to Amazon. Most people ask me about my equipment. It's actually, I keep a Stories in a Cemetery shop page, so that way you guys can go check things out for yourselves. So that's actually at the top of your data page too.
Okay.
They were actually asking me about the podcast. That's at the top of the data page. Then the shop, there's a link to that, and then all my contact info in case you lose my card.
Okay.
So, all right, we're gonna keep rolling. I just want to make sure you guys were good going through the slippery clay bricks.
We're good.
But, I mean, I use lasers. I mean, I got extra shit in the bag too. So lasers are kind of like when I have my full group of 10, I break out the lasers just because they can get me in a lot of trouble. If I hand it to some kid, like they're peering at somebody's window or I'm getting arrested, it's never fun. But I do have a regular K2 lasers, and then I give somebody a digital camera for the lasers because they have to shoot hundreds of pictures through the lasers. So that way we can actually capture something. So I think that's about the only set of equipment I don't have out. But we're about to upgrade that one to an SC11. So if you guys know how those things work or not.
Are we by a church?
We are.
Gabriel.
Interesting. When we turn the corner for the church, you'll probably get something a little bit more churchy, like priest, God, Bible, anything along those lines. It happens almost every single night.
Go.
Go?
Yeah.
Like keep going?
I guess.
What was that?
I didn't get rained out.
Yeah. Actually, earlier, that's why I called. I'm glad I called too, because
Yeah.
I showed up at 9.
And I didn't even have you on my list. That was then. You were for next week.
Yeah, I must have been by accident. I think I just went with the first 2 visits.
I'm really glad you called. That was that was
Yeah.
Upgrade for that one actually uses 2. You can set up either FM and FM or FM and AM, and they sweep at the same time. So whatever comes through comes through. So of course I'll have to test it at a location before I hand it to somebody.
Yeah,
So here you go. We're gonna stop here. Normally I give you guys, this is where I give you guys a place to sit, but obviously everything's going to be wet. So my apologies for that. Any terms or phrases I need to know about? I know Tyler and I were talking. What about the 2 of you? Did you guys hear anything, see anything come up?
Mine just said cycle and play after Gabriel.
Cycle and play, nothing. Yeah, normally I use your word list because this is the corner where there's like 15 different stories. So did you guys notice the brick alley that we passed up? That's called Philadelphia Alley. So I'm just going to go to my go-to stories, by the way, if you want to take a break with your hand, because we're going to be here for like 5-10 minutes. If anything's going to pop up here. I don't care if it gets wet, I just don't like to touch it. Right?
What are your parents' names? Were they stealing? name.
Just kidding, just kidding.
What's the name of it?
It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. That's right.
If the other group moves, we should try out the gate.
Let's try it. I'm gonna get false readings by the road, according to him, because it's close to the parking station. So what I'll do is I'll turn my phone off.
Well, I would say keep it going anyways.
Well, it'll still give me this.
What do you got?
Nothing.
Man, it's grabbing your first child, and I got
It's off limits. Yep.
Yeah, my thing's going crazy because the power line's under the road.
Yeah, shit.
Try sticking it through the gate.
I think it's still gonna get the parking meters.
Well, try it anyways.
What have you got?
What? What?
I'm just gonna feel bad.
Huh?
Picture just comes out of her apartment or something. It's some fucking weirdos sticking their hand through the gate. I think something. Yeah. It's the name of Captain John Fishing. I'm suffering. It's money. It is money.
Name of the ship, pretty please.
Country.
was Anne Bonnie's father? How many children did Anne Bonnie have?
It's off the charts. It's the most haunted fucking thing in the city.
What's the name of Captain Jalico's ship?
How many husbands did Anne Bonnie
What's the name of
have?
Captain Jalico's ship? I'm not going to ask you what that means. What happened to your first son?
You need to relax.
Like me. You getting anything over there? Like good spots? Any chili billies? Chili
The
bits?
problem is I have to have someone in frame.
Oh.
What are you laughing at me?
No. He's got the hard job. He's got to keep somebody in the frame. All the time.
If no one's in frame, everything turns red.
Everything turns red when no one's in frame?
Yeah.
The name of Anne Bonnie's father. How about her mother? What's the name of Captain Jalico's ship? Come on. I'm getting quizzed on this.
It'll be on the test.
It's going to be on a test. What happened to your first child? Where did you leave your first child? In Cuba?
What did it say?
Looking. Recently. What happened to your first child? Did Anne leave her first child in Cuba? Consultation. What's the name of Captain Jalico's ship? Where did Anne Bonnie die? That's her name, right? Anne Bonnie? Yes. Where did Anne Reed go? Fuel rigs? Were you affected by the earthquake in this pattern? And they never fire those cans? What did they do when they turned and they took the wall down? Greenberry. Once.
Yeah, can't really get anything on this.
I can't get anything with this because the parking meter's not up.
Anne Bonnie's father.
Let's try this side again.
What was that? Was that the sound of the cannon fire? Building A. Metal.
This is recording audio, by the way.
Good. Bonnie's fine. Doing it in Bonnie's fine. The name is Captain Gal.
Anything out of yours? Got a little bit of
I
it.
asked for the name of the father. I got Jeffrey. That's me.
No, they actually got it. It was William.
Oh, okay.
So it actually came up on the word list.
All right, cool.
So got something out of these spirit boxes. Again, hardest job out here is the noisemaker ones. The word list is kind of a touch and go. Some nights it gives me 20, 30 terms I gotta verify. It also gave us the PM Powder magazine.
Yeah.
As soon as we're here, but she also heard a whisper come through on the red spirit box, so she's not sure what it sounded like, or But again, I'll be looking for it.
I heard like I was doing some questioning about the cannons, and I heard like a weird thudding sound.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Well, the cannons and stuff you see in the front, like they're legit, but they're just not really relative to the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the story over there, there's nobody held hostage here in
Yeah.
jail. It's not those things. Anything like anything that being a magazine for wars, it was different types of businesses. Textiles, merchants were here, so it wouldn't have been anything dark. I don't want to say dark and demonic because that's not my point. But we did get William, so I'll definitely take that because I heard her even ask over there what was the father's name.
Yeah.
So, and we get the name Philip here a lot too. People don't realize why. All right, I'll let you keep listening. We're gonna a couple more minutes. We'll wrap this one up. Anything crazy on your camera? Your camera likes to screw up in here, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like at times it'll hiccup or it'll put a white film over things, make devices stop working. Like I've seen it before. So again, it's kind of touch and go in this lot. Right? Anything crazy out of yours? You get inside the gate and stuff?
Yeah. I don't know, everyone.
Especially in this spot. Well, we have very bright soft.
Color pictures, like a photo.
I think we're going to go another minute or two. I think Tyler's still wanting to listen in on his spirit box. Okay.
Oh.
Pull the REM pod back out for a minute.
Believe it or not, my son got me on this. I used to smoke, and he's like, Mom,
And get closer to that stuff.
I still have one for because I don't know if I'm going to, like, if I have little kids, I do everything I can to keep it in my pocket.
Right.
So at least I get the jolt of it and the cigarette before.
Yeah.
see, we've tried, we still have cigarettes at, because
You got any readings over there?
in our kitchen, and I'm like, there was a lady walking down by, the battery, where we down by, and I mean, we were probably from the building away from her.
Again, this isn't the Pinkley site, so I gave them that warning ahead of time. I'm sure you got some readings over it. Oh, yeah, you walked by the slogan.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
Sure. Alright, let's rein it in. Come on in, Rick.
Oh, now you're, oh. I was like, oh, now you're on.
It's like another 2 hours. Another 2 hours.
Yeah, just another 2 hours. Who needs sleep?
This guy. 'Cause I gotta go over evidence for St.